Morning, students. Hope you all are fine. Here I am going to discuss, or probably you all know, or probably you have already discussed because your syllabus is almost over. Still, I have some interest in Plato's philosophy, and previously I have discussed about Socrates' philosophy, how Socrates was talking about the knowledge, how he was talking about the method of earning knowledge, etc. And if you see, Socrates was one of the institution of philosophical tradition in the world history, and Plato was the disciple of Socrates. And if we see the epistemology, that is how knowledge is acquired, then we shall find that Plato and Socrates both were somehow were the rationalistic philosopher who were giving importance on reason as the source of knowledge. You can say from Socrates and then Plato, the tradition of rationalism has been started, and in the modern times, in modern Western philosophy, Descartes was the philosopher who were talking about rationalism. Now, I already have said in the class that let us try to understand what is the standpoint of all these philosophers, what is the standpoint of Socrates, what is the standpoint of Plato. Then you will be able to understand how philosophy have been developed from the ancient time. Now, as in your syllabus, we have knowledge and opinion in Plato, given by Plato. So we should first stick to the syllabus. And if you see, from the time of Socrates, then before Socrates, there were some philosophers called sophists. They were the sophists, and they were giving some view regarding the acquisition of knowledge. Okay, they were talking about some sophists like Protagoras said, man is the measure of everything. Means you, the individual man, you will measure. Means it depends on you. The knowledge, possibility of knowledge is dependent on you. That was the standpoint of the sophists like Protagoras. So sophists were the philosophers who were talking about possibility of knowledge by sense experience, the individual sense experience. That was that standpoint. But if you see Socrates said it is not the perception, it is somehow the reason by which I acquire the knowledge, because knowledge is something which should be common, and by perception you cannot have a common knowledge because individual perception is different. The same standpoint, if you see, is adopted by Plato. And in fact, Plato's philosophy, the famous philosophy of Plato is the theory of idea, theory of form. It is in your syllabus. But before going to that, there was another topic which is called knowledge and opinion. Knowledge and opinion. Actually, the whole philosophy of Plato, even you can say the idea discussed by Plato is dependent on his theory of knowledge. So before going to the discussion of the theory of idea, let us discuss what is the opinion of Plato about knowledge and opinion. As I have already said, Plato has somehow adopted his philosophy from Socrates. Of course, there are some modifications. Still, there is you can say it is almost similar philosophy of Plato and philosophy of Socrates. If you see Plato's idea of knowledge, then he has started his philosophy or his conception about knowledge not positively, you can say, but negatively. That is, he was adopting or developing his philosophy from the criticism of knowledge given by his previous philosophers. Now, who was previous philosopher? Immediately the previous philosopher was Socrates, but Socrates was his teacher, and Plato has adopted certain views of Socrates. That is why previous philosophers directly means to the sophist. So what opinion sophists were given about knowledge, Plato had criticized first, and then he has established his own view. Plato said, as I have already said, sophists were the philosophers who said knowledge is what? Knowledge is knowledge through perception. It is perception of individuals, individual perception. So Socrates was not very much supporter of that sophist, and likewise Plato also said these views cannot be accepted. Plato said